Arsenal made really light work of it. 4-0 win, plenty of goals, some interesting decisions from Arteta on the 11 front in terms of the combinations. We'll talk about that because I think that's kind of the real talking point out of this game is what we saw ahead of PSG, and a really pretty nasty red card. So we'll talk about all that in this match report. But I want to start with the 11 and what we learned from the 11 throughout the game. We'll go through the goals and all that. But I really want to talk about Mikel Merino, his involvement as the left 8 in this game, Trossard leading the line, and Arteta seeing what his potential solutions are for PSG. Now, honestly, I know nothing. I'm obviously not a medical expert. I have no insight on this. I think Jorginho will be fit. It's just a gut feeling. There's no confirmation that I could see online anywhere that it was a broken rib. The main issue seemed to be an issue with breathing, but I imagine that's sort of been sorted, or can't imagine that's something he's still feeling now. There's probably some pain and bruising. I don't really know, right? But they said it's a kind of a rib or chest injury. But look, again, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me know if you've got expertise on this in the comment section below. I just had this feeling Jorginho will be fine. Therefore, Rice can hold his position in the left 8. Therefore, Merino can play up front. Partey will come back for the second leg. But in the in a situation in which Jorginho is not available, Arteta's got to try some other things. I think he did in this game. He went quite strong. Raya in goal. White comes in for Timber. Saliba, Kivior, Zinchenko, Rice, Merino, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, Martinelli. I really like the balance of that team, by the way. I think it's a really fluid, balanced 11. I think you saw that for a lot of this game against Ipswich. I think they played with a lot of control. I think we dominated physically as well as just technically as well, and they couldn't really get near us, and I think that's why you saw the frustration spill over in one or two challenges and moments. But anyway, so the solution to Partey being out was to move Rice back, and Rice did fine. I don't think Rice was brilliant today. I don't think it was anything like the job he did against Real Madrid. Didn't need to be. You just need to keep things steady. The question was about Odegaard, Merino in the pockets. What can you make happen? Trossard in the false 9. Can our wingers have some joy? And I thought basically the front 5, if you want to look at it that way on the ball, all absolutely delivered. I really liked Merino getting into striking positions to the point where I had to remind myself that he didn't start as the striker. I was seeing some of the areas he got into. You see it for the second goal too, and I'm going, oh wait, he's in midfield today. And I had to keep reminding myself. That's kind of how far advanced he was getting forward. And it was very similar to the Trossard-Havertz combinations that we saw last season at times. So I think Arteta might have that on his mind and think that that's the closest thing to a system and setup he's coached. I mean, you've got to think, we haven't ever played with Lewis Skelly in the 6, though we did try it today. I don't think you could just chuck White in there. I don't like the idea of you keep Merino up front, but you move Rice to the 6, but he brings Zinchenko into midfield. I think what he went with today is the closest to anything we've seen actually work at Arsenal in terms of a tactical plan and approach. And I just think that's probably what Arteta will do, like I said, if Jorginho is absent. But I just have this kind of feeling he'll be all right. No, I don't have any Italian connections or anything like that. I just have this feeling he'll be fine. But I have no idea what I'm basing that on. Just a gut feeling. So anyway, back to it. And then you see the quality of some of those sort of combinations and that tactical plan. You see that in the second goal, really. So the first goal is kind of well worked. Saka does well, obviously, and Trossard just very spontaneously, no spontaneous in the word, just improvises, doesn't he? And he pulls out a goal. I think he kind of did that with both goals, and it's why I keep saying, and there was someone, I forgot to reply. Let me know if in the comments of this video I'll have a little look out. And it's all very fun-spirited conversation. I don't want the Goonerverse to ever be a place of he said, she... No, not he said, she said. But like, you said this, I said that, you're wrong, blah, blah. But there were one or two, and I've seen in comments of other videos and live streams or whatever saying, James, you're wrong about, Trossard, Merino, look what he's done. And Merino did great at the Burnabout. I was wrong to doubt whether he should be playing up front in those games. But I think a lot of people who are critical about my opinion of Trossard playing up front are wrong, because he struggled against Brentford. He did great away at Everton, and he's done great today away at Ipswich. That's 3 goals in 2 away games. And I think with those goals, he's done them with kind of very little. There's not a lot of space. They're not tap-ins. He's had to just kind of work a little something and hit the target. And he does that, for me, still better than anybody else in the squad. So I think, respect Trossard. Merino is the 9 for Arsenal right now. He's got that shirt. He deserves it. And he's the closest to what Arteta wants in that position. There's no question. But let's not laugh off the idea of Trossard being someone who can do something in the false nine. And now he might have to be against PSG. So yeah, interesting that Arteta set up with that, and I do think it was a bit of a PSG rehearsal. In terms of the goals, yeah, like I said, Trossard does well to sort of work something. But look how well he does to combine with Saka and sort of take that touch from a switch, put it over the top to Saka, and all that leads to then Mourinho's brilliant flick on as he's running to the box. He's still getting to those areas, flicks it on. Did he mean to find Martinelli? I want to say he did, but I'm not so sure. But let's say he did. And then Martinelli's there to stroke it home. And great to see Martinelli getting in amongst the goals. Then there's the red card. And I said on AFTV on my fan cam that I think sometimes footballers, we need to... And I know a lot of you in the comments will go, James, that's a disgusting challenge. Why are you even trying to defend it? Let's look at everything, whether it's for Arsenal, against Arsenal, whatever. Let's always try to look at everything in the most balanced way possible. Can you, in a moment, your team's getting relegated, it's a hot day, there's all eyes on you, there's pressure in the media, there's pressure whatever. Can you, as a footballer, can it get the better of you sometimes? Can the heat of the occasion get the better of you? Sure. And I try to always be somewhat forgiving of that. But I really, really, really have just a real personal hate with... Some people love it. And some people say, well, if he does it for your team, you love it. But I really hate it when players are basically not in the game and they go, it's the Roy Keane meme. I'm just going to kick someone so I feel better. I think it's a really kind of cowardly way to deal with adversity on a football pitch. And I think he did want to leave on Saka. I don't think he meant to absolutely rake him down the Achilles or injure him super badly. I think it's just a heat at the moment, really, really lazy tackle. And I'm so glad they punished it with the red. A bit like the decisions I was saying, well, no, it's not like the Real Madrid decisions. Let me not say that. This was a clear red card. And I think anyone who doesn't see it as a red, I'm really kind of asking questions there. But what I would say is, I do think other referees don't give that as a red in full time, which would be stupid, which would be completely wrong. But I do think some weirdly see that those kind of tackles as coming together and it can happen, and yeah, he's caught him high, but no, it's a red card. It's a red card. He's caught him really high, back of the Achilles, quite aggressively, he's gone in quite, like I said, aggressively, quite hard, and it's a bad tackle from behind. And also he's nowhere near the ball. That's another part of this. He is nowhere near the ball whatsoever. So I think... Sorry, make sure I'm not in people's way. I think the red card's the right decision. I think it was a really cowardly tackle. And yeah, I think in the heat of the moment, players can sort of leave on the opponent. But sometimes that's a bit of a shoulder barge, or it's a bit of a whatever. That was really poor from Leif Davis, and he rightly got sent off. Trossard then gets the third, and Nwaneri comes on and gets the fourth. One question, could Mikel Arteta have taken Saka off earlier? But again, there'll be medical staff, there'll be advisors around him, there'll be Saka telling him, I feel okay, I want to play, probably. So yeah, Saka could have had a few more goals. That's one thing. Saka's finishing was maybe a little bit off, but otherwise he was terrorising their defence as well. So yeah, did we get an idea for what Arteta was planning pre-PSG? I think we did. But there's a chance Jorginho's back. If he is, does Mourinho keep his place up front and you go with the balance with Rice and the 8? I think you probably do. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Was that a PSG rehearsal? Anyway, catch you in a bit.